Hi, today we'll start a new series of lessons. The focus now will be how to produce an ecological sensitivity map, and to do that I'll already have here preset some features to speed up our lesson. So from the beginning, this is our area. It is a farm, so we will work first with this area, and I'll explain you. This area is in Brazil, so to run this lesson, I think it's better uh, for me at least show you what I trying to illustrate the constraints in the environmental sense, in the environmental aspect. We can follow the Brazilian regulations, which are more detailed how to uh, arrange the sensitivities of the site. So starting here, just to show you how we are going to work, I have the site boundary and I have the rivers, the features of the surface water features. Here, for an example, I created one area which would be classified as a SAC, and the water features. What would be the first step here? Well, first I will copy the whole area, whole shapefile, and I can just turn off all here. I'll export. I'll name it as site sensitivities. What done? So the most important part of this kind of mapping is about the method. So I'm not saying this is the most correct method, but is one method to be followed. Maybe depending on what kind of project you are doing, you will need to look at which kind of method you need to follow by basing any regulation or guidance. In this case, I'll work with my own method for now. Okay, I'm changing the symbology to make it easier to work. So the first step is to represent every area here which we have in our site. In the Irish context, you can do this for the habitats. Here in this context, I will only do regarding the land covering. In Ireland, you have already the Corinne dataset, which you have the land covering if you want to work with it. Is you can follow the same idea I will do here to the habitats. I will do here for the land cover. So I have the whole area here. I just copied the label, and I will start to draw in another way. I'll start to cut to divide the areas. So for the example, I'll do this very rough approximation just to show you what's going on. Here I'm cutting the pasture area and the natural vegetation, okay, as you can see here. So outside here, I'll finish this cutting just clicking the right button. done. We have them this polygon and this polygon. Okay, we actually don't have two polygons, as you can see here, just one line in the attribute table. To solve this, just select it and go to this button. As I showed before in another video, you can come here in the plugins and install this plugin here, which is the multi-part split. Okay, and we have two. I'll do now, as you can see here, we have a wetland, very clear, a wetland here, and here is a forest, dense vegetation. So I'll separate this as well. The same idea. Done. Again, I need to split it. Done. Okay. Well, the problem here, we could find more details, but for this example I'll keep it at the minimum. Okay, here we have a small dam to merge these two parts here. Okay, well, we have our area. Let's say we have a habitat to separate here, grasslands and hedgerows, the same way. Okay, why I do this way? Because it's better, because instead of just drawing new polygons, you will need to match all the boundaries while you are drawing each polygon, which can be harder than doing this way. Okay, and you will not have any of these polygons overlapping the other. Well, done. I'll create an attribute here. So name, just to name the what I'm doing here. Name will be, let's say, 50. Not name, length cover, better, length cover. Don't name one by one here. Okay, all done. Save, finish. Well, very done. Well done. Now I'll create another column here, which will be OC length cover sensitive sense, and it will be a number. So here I'll set a method. The sensitivity will be in a range from 0 to 100. Okay, so it will be a number, integer. So just for the example, okay guys, so here a forest, the sensitivity will be 70. Why is that? Later you will see. Wetland 75. Pastures 10, better, let's say 30. Dam, in this case let's say 60, and bushes 75. Okay, it's just for the example. Okay guys, I'm not following in this case any guidance or regulation. Done. So I have my length cover or habitats. It's not the same, of course, but in the case of a project in Ireland. Now I'll add the water features. Okay, in this case, in the Brazil regulations, we have this here, keeping it the most simple we can. We have the permanent preservation areas, which every farm or urban area needs to have, and regarding water courses and mountains, cliffs, very steep slopes, this kind of stuff, lakes, wetlands, this kind of stuff. Okay, we have in our regulations these as classified as permanent preservation areas, and each one have their characteristics, how they are configured. So for water courses which are less than 10 meters wide, the PPA needs to be a buffer of 30 meters, and water courses between 10 and 50 meters, a buffer of 50 meters, and it goes this way. Okay, water source, the springs, the buffer needs to be 50 meters. So I'll prepare here these buffers, the PPA buffer. I need first to see how wide is this river here. So in this case it is around 20 meters, so it needs to be 50 meters the PPA. So I'll select and create a buffer of 50 meters for this one. Okay, I'll keep it temporary and run. So it is here. Okay, this is the PPE for this area. I have as well these two river streams. If you barely can see the water course, it's less than 10 meters for sure. So again, this will be 30 meters. Great, are here. The water source, the spring here, the buffer by law is 50 meters. So we have all the buffer set for this case. Okay, so I just need to merge. I have them merged here, and all of them are PPE. Let's add it here, and now here is the spring, and here I'll add the PPA sensitivity. Okay, in this case the sensitivity will be 100. Why is that? By law, in this area you can't do anything. You can't. It needs to fit its purpose of protection the whole time, so you can't take down any vegetation, you can't do anything. It needs to be covered by natural vegetation. If it is not in this condition, you need to recover it immediately. You can't even explore it like just picking fruits and that wood kind of stuff. It's very strict area to protect the water courses. Okay, so the sensitivity will be 100%. Okay, here's done. There is another case that the farms in Brazil needs to have covered with natural vegetation area, which is called legal reserve. This legal reserve is an area which is mandatory. Each farmland needs to have at least 20% of its total area covered by natural vegetation. Okay, if it is not, you need to recover. I'm putting this the simplest way I can. Okay, so for this area in Brazil it is 20%. It can go until 80% in the case of the farms in the legal Amazon. which is kind of the same area of the Amazon forest. Okay, in this case it's 20%. So to understand, to know this 20%, I'll go to the site boundary, I'll go to the field calculator, and then want to know the area of this farm in hectares. Done. In hectares is 1060 hectares. So the required legal reservation needs to be 20% of each field, field here, area, 20%, or multiply by 8.0.2 or 20%. So the required area will be this. Okay, so I need to be this area protected in vegetation. It would be this one. So to discover, I'll go to site sensitivities, open, I'll calculate this area in hectares. So forest here 500, I need 3 and something, right? This reservation area can be the sum of, in some cases, of the whole natural features you have in your farm. To keep it simple, I'll use only this. Okay, so I need to find here 300 and something. Let me check here. 320. To keep it simple, I'll then finish here. I'll go to sensitivities again and let's see. I'll cut here. Remembering this farm here is fictional, okay? I don't know if it is this area or not. I just draw it. So for the example, our farm is this area. So I will split. It's a forest, but I need to calculate again the areas. So I will update here. So this area here is 366 hectares. So it's a bit more, it's a lot more, but to keep it simple, let's say this is our legal reservation. Okay, it's covered by natural vegetation, natural forest, so it have the required area. So we can say this forest is our. So again, the sensitivity here will not be 70% anymore for this case, because legal reservations you can't take down, can't open this area. Okay, but here you can, here you cannot, but you can kind of do some stuff here. In some cases you can extract some materials from the native trees you have here, like fruits and dead trees, some logs, kind of stuff. It's not that strict like the PPA. Okay, so but the sensitivity here will be a little higher because it had some legal restrictions, let's say 85. Okay, and here is still 70 because it's a natural vegetation. There's a lot of complex habitats and ecology constraints here, but in our example here you can convert this area to pasture, keeping a sustainable exploration of this area. Okay, and finally, in this example, I have let's say a fictional SAC. In the SAC, you can do nothing. It's a 100% protected area. But in some cases, you can have in the SAC management plan. It depends on which kind of SAC it is. You might have buffers on set in it, which you can do some stuff, but it's kind of, you have some regulations what you can do and how, so it's controlled in this area. So you have some restrictions to do whatever you want. So you have a higher sensitivity over the natural restrictions. Okay, let's say that same idea in the case of say 100 not percent, and the buffer you have restrictions but you can do things. So let's say 50. Okay, we have for this example all the restrictions we could have. Okay, now the next step is cross all of them and see how the sensitivities here will be. We have done all the areas we need for the next step, and what would be the next step? The next step will be the unit of all these areas. Okay, so the input area, I'll set the site sensitivities, and I will select the other two we just prepared, which will be the PPA and the SAC buffer zone. It will not be one of those. The site sensitivity is already there. SPA and SAC I can add, but will not have any difference because the SAC doesn't cover the area, the study area, and the site boundary is the same area of the site sensitivities. Okay, and run. We have here our union. This is the easiest way. Okay, guys, so I'll show you this way. Let's edit it and just delete the areas which we will not need. It's outside of our site boundary. All good. See the attribute table of this area, what happened here as well. As you can see from the land cover, the site sensitivities, the first one we did, we have the attributes here. So the land cover, the sensitivity here. Okay, good. All of them are here. I can delete this ID, but no need for now, just to arrange the attribute table. But what I'm going to do here, we have the sensitivity of the area we did in the first opportunity. We have here the PPA sensitivity, the permanent protection area, and this SAC buffer. This is from the buffer zone, okay, which are here as you can see. What we are going to do for this method I'm using here, we go to the field calculator, create a new name, let's say total, so this final sensitivity of the areas will be number as it is there, and here I will calculate the maximum sensitivity. Okay, because it will be from 0 to 100 will be the higher sensitivity, with will define how strict is that particular area to as a rate. Okay, which fields I want to compare? The land cover sensitivity, the PPA sensitivity, and the SAC sensitivity. Okay, so in this field sensitivity total, I'll have the higher of them. So okay, done. I'll clean a bit this, make it easier to see. Yeah, here. So this polygon here have total sensitivity of 100. That's correct because it's over a PPA. Let's say this one here, no, pastures here, 30, because it's just pastures. Okay, and this way, let's change the symbology to make it better to see. Properties, I've set here I will load previous style I prepared. Is this file, I'll load it. So when I load, it already came with the all set. If you don't have, you just need to go to symbology, change it to graduate, select the field you wanna change the color ramp to each color you might want. And here, as in this method, we set a rating from 0 to 100. I set the 0, the less sensitivity, to green, to 100 here, the red, the higher sensitivity. In 20 classes, pretty breaks, so here breaks in 20. So from sensitivity from 95 to 100 will be the higher in the symbology. Okay, I set a transparency of 50% and apply. And here we have our sensitive map. As you can see, very coherent. Okay, we could have as well here, as you can see, is the lower because it's a pasture, but here a bit higher because it is in the buffer zone of the SAC. Okay, so here we have a pretty good sensitivity map. Okay, is this way it works. In the next video, I'll show you how to print this in a better presentation over elevation map, and how to show this in a 3D map over the elevation map with this satellite image background. Okay, see you in the next video.